Cameras up there.
Microphone's
there. So, not that it stopped my other missions from saying crazy things, but you're on live. So, I'm ready.
All right.
Karen won't be here. I know that.
Okay, we'll call the meeting to order and roll call. Do I actually need to call out names for this?
No, it's just my reminder to make sure we're all
Okay. So moving on to agenda approval.
Motion to approve.
I said, all in favor?
All in favor? Aye, all opposed? Okay. Agenda has been approved. The minutes approval for February 2023, has everybody had a chance to look over them? If you need a minute, go ahead and take it.
Just a minor note, it was corrected in one place, but it's on item 5C, it's my partner still has the W.
Okay.
It's minor,
Well,
but for accuracy.
let's see if I can find that. Appreciate you now. Let's get their name right. It's always good.
Their name's just Ariane.
Yes.
Yes.
Great, thank you. I just am not seeing it, but I remember talking, there it is. We're talking about it.
We've now identified multiple fictional characters who actually have that name, so.
All
Okay,
right,
I corrected it. Thank you.
do we have a motion to approve?
I move that we approve the minutes as corrected.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, any opposed? Unanimous. All right, public comments, are there any online today?
No.
Okay. And nobody else is here. So we'll move right along to old business, public art at library project update. Is that you, Stu?
Sure.
Okay.
I'm just,
No, that's fine.
catching up. So last month, we talked about asking the Oregon Arts Commission who funded a late request for $5,000 if they would also then just transfer that money into the Signal Box Fund, which they said, you can't do that. So that's your update. However, Jason did contact me last week-ish, and he said that, he's welding forms, he's getting ready to pour concrete, he's got EOU classes right now. He must be the art department at EOU, Jason, yeah. So I think he's done this quarter, and he's gonna take a break to do this project. And so he's tied up for now, but he's working on it slowly and making progress. So it's good.
We've
He's
been
still
trying.
shooting for fall.
Okay.
I suppose worst case, that extra 5,000, if it turns out materials cost more, or is he just at that set price that he quoted us?
He's kind of stuck with a contract.
Okay. Never
And he
mind.
doesn't seem to be, he hasn't ever asked me for anything different or said anything about that.
All right.
So we have an extra 3,000 already besides this 5. So if that does happen, we do that. I have let him know that. And I also let him know that with that 3,000, it'd be nice to do the donor plaque of some kind that was built into the sculpture.
Yes.
Because, there's 4 or 5 main funders for the project that
Right.
should be recognized, including the anonymous donor who will go public once we go to that stage.
Well, that's exciting.
That's fun.
So that's the word from
Awesome.
Jason.
Sorry.
It's okay, we're glad you're here. We just did the public art library project update.
Okay, great. So next is you.
There was a meeting February 9th.
That wasn't a meeting.
I didn't make it here.
Oh, you
The
actually had,
February one happened, the March one did not.
oh, okay.
Yeah. I totally spaced it, totally forgot about it.
We'll focus on the February one,
Yeah, let
because
us
this
know
was,
what
that was
February.
after this meeting.
Well, the February one was a really good start. They wanted pictures of all the signal boxes, so I have gone and done that. I've got all the pictures. We delegated some jobs. One of the ladies, I can't remember her name.
Probably with the chamber.
Yes, the lady from the chamber, to try and get a couple of bids of what it would cost. ODOT is getting back to me on the new signal box dimensions because we've got the dimensions for the old ones, but those are going to be changing. And pretty much where it's at.
That seems like a good progress.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, good job.
So the one meeting that was scheduled, but I didn't remember it. Neither did Abby. So it just didn't make it on my calendar for whatever reason. But the good news is both superintendents showed up. The assistant and the regular superintendent showed up. The chamber showed up. The what's it called? The wrap, whatever the speedy delivery place with the wraps showed up.
Oh, nice.
So like people are in on this project.
The Robs?
Yeah. But the wraps company is called something else. So
Is it Cam Designs or is it
no,
something else?
they have a wraps company as a
Okay.
part of their business now.
I just drove by there.
It's on the window, the name of it, I just can't remember. Anyway, long story short, everybody's really excited about it. The school district thinks that if we are willing to sell one panel of the 4 to a business, that businesses will just pay for them. It's not gonna be hard. And so if it's, $5,000 for a wrap, as a round number,
But that goes
Then-
against art policy
it could. So.
because we don't allow the advertising in the art policy.
Okay, good. So there you go. That's what they brought to me when they
I mean,
showed
it's
up
a great
and
idea, but it's not in the art policy. We'd have to amend the art policy.
which is probably fair because I'm not sure we want a bunch of advertisements on those, but that was their idea. Anyway, all school districts all in. So that's great.
Fantastic.
That's great.
Mhm.
That's
That's the
wonderful.
biggie. And like I said, I've got the pictures of, I took a day and I went around and took pictures of every stinking signal box at a stoplight.
Good job.
So we've got that. So when we have the next meeting, we can start out with, okay, where do you want to start? Which end of town, who's getting what? Start narrowing it on some costs.
Do you have a April meeting planned? Sorry, I interrupted you.
No. Yes, we would like to get an April meeting. We were gonna do a doodle poll, but I may just pick a date.
It seems that Thursday afternoon is a decent time. I mean, considering how many people actually showed up when we didn't.
Yeah.
Is that what it was last Thursday?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Because it's kind of like I had the day off. I have Thursdays off, but I'm taking a couple of weeks off except for Tuesday. I'm working 2 days off, 5 days. We're doing
Search and destroy on our house.
yeah. So
Hubby's
and
out of town, so.
Right. We are streaming live,
Yes.
right? You didn't hear that before. But
sorry.
Yeah,
it's coming through that
Forgot to tell
camera.
you, yeah, there's
But
camera
yeah.
on my
But from now on, we'll be doing that to meet public record law.
Just FYI.
Just in case, just so you know, not that you were saying anything bad, just saying.
But yeah, so next time we'll definitely be making it.
So what's the second? We have ours the third Wednesday of the month, second Wednesday of the month, second Wednesday. Well, what about doing it the day after on that Thursday?
I'm out of town that day, the 13th. But you can sub me if you want. I'll have somebody unlock the door.
No, that won't help. You're the note taker.
Probably the 20th.
Okay, let's do April 20th. 4 p.m. Put it on your little calendar, please.
Anything else about the single box art route?
I'll get that out to everybody so we can make a good plan.
Fantastic. All right, moving on, Regional High School Exhibition Award. I finally got it this day. It's very exciting to see all the artwork. Any updates, Corey?
What?
Updates?
No, there's no update. Actually, Taylor has one of because one of the
Yep.
winners, I think the big winner.
Yeah,
right?
the big winner was not there,
Was not there.
and so we brought the box here now, and so whenever they are able to during office hours, they could come by and pick it up.
Did you get
Everything was shelf
pictures?
stable, so it should all be good.
Did you
Okay.
get the
Awesome.
pictures?
Did somebody take pictures?
Did somebody take pictures of the two that were selected?
Not specifically, but Is that still possible to do?
I was just
Still
curious
possible,
which
but
ones.
now
Yeah.
I took pictures of our work with it, but not
Yeah.
everybody else's.
There was a an embarrassment of riches in terms of really excellent art. But you know, we made a couple of choices and they were really good ones. And there were a million others that I wish I also could have picked. So
There was some really good pieces up
Yeah.
there. My 4-year-old and I were there today. It was really lovely. I liked the honorable mention that was on the wall with the coming home. Loved that piece. Oh my gosh, that was really pretty. The multiple.
So can you just rewind and go into a little bit more detail?
Oh.
Like, so you went with Ren earlier?
Oh, yes.
And like you
yes, Ren and I
judged
went
them?
earlier. We viewed all of the pieces that were from Grande high school students. And we made our two choices. We were kind of in consensus on it. And
So
we
there was
were
a
really impressed with all
honorable
of the work.
mention. Okay, cool.
Oh,
Honorable mention and
I don't know if the honorable mention was for the Grand Arts Commission though.
No,
I saw
that's-
the one that we chose was the tired.
best in show.
Oh, I forget what we called ours.
Well,
No,
I
don't
guess
have
it doesn't
that.
matter.
It's
It's
in my
fine.
notebook.
Well, it should be in here.
It should be, you're right. Yeah, it is in there.
Judge's choice.
It might not actually be in this one because it just said we were working on
Oh,
prices.
yeah.
Um,
Well, it's fine.
regardless, they were excellent pieces, and there were many other excellent pieces as
And
well.
you gave us some sort of speech
Yes,
or whatever.
I gave a little bit of a spiel. I had my timing off on when to arrive, and so it was a little rushed, but we got the word of the commission out there, and announced the prizes. And
That's great.
the person who was there for the lower prize seemed excited about it. So,
Sure.
good stuff.
Do you remember the two titles of the two pieces? And the one was Time or Tired.
Tired, yes, that was the one that was there, and ready to accept. The other one, I remember the piece, I do not remember its name.
Okay.
Lovely piece of some jellyfish in a star field.
I remember that piece.
Ooh,
Okay, that's great.
sounds intriguing.
Yes.
So do you have the contact info? Do you have the contact info of who this winner is? So we can get them their
I can
stuff?
send you that. I can
Okay.
send you that.
Cool.
If they filled it out.
Thank you.
And then it closes Friday?
Friday, yeah.
Friday.
I want to go tomorrow to see
Yes,
it.
I was gonna say, I've got stuff to do in town anyway. We should go see it.
Good job, you guys. That's
Cool.
really exciting. That was really nice. You did a good job.
I'm glad the baskets are such a hit because,
Yeah, the other ones weren't used, so.
yeah, checks weren't getting cashed and it's like,
Oh, wow.
We used to give cash prizes, different checks, so.
well, and that's why we stopped doing the scholarship through the high school too, is, I mean, we were doing an $800 scholarship and they weren't cashing the check.
Wow.
And it's like,
It's
I don't
been- yeah, it's been
understand that
more
one. Give me
successful.
$800, I'm cashing that sucker.
That's it.
Yeah, the baskets seem to have been more successful, and
Yeah.
it's just a really nice little curated selection of art supplies. Some things that just every artist would want, and maybe are a little pricey. Some things that are kind of weird and experimental, and then a nice assortment of snacks because we remember what it was like to be teenagers, and snacks are important.
True. Snacks are important at 42.
Good job, good job, good job.
Awesome. Okay, Art Commission goals, priorities, discussion. Do we want to go any more into this?
That was the big list from last time.
It was a really big list. Did anybody take a chance to look over it, see if any of these things sounded like perhaps something to go forward with, or? I always think that increased youth programming in the arts is important, but the Art Center is doing a lot already, and they're trying to get it to be free to all kids this year with
Good.
their fundraising. So I don't know if we can just kind of talk that up at city council meetings and promote ACE in that way, so that people know to kind of send money there versus through us. I don't know what would be the best way to do that. Stu, you would probably know.
Well, I,
Nobody calls me to donate money or whatever for art stuff, because it's under the radar a little bit, but I think it's worth a public comment at city council for sure.
well, something I just came from Main Street Design, and one of the things that we are going to be implementing is geocaching. And the first phase is going to be focusing on the murals and the ghost signage in town.
Oh, fun.
And Amanda was looking at getting with you, because I was like, Parks and Recs might want to get in on this, and so.
Yeah, some of the stuff like Stu was saying last time is stuff that we can, write letters of support and help people get involved. But it's stuff that, because of our being the art commission, we really can't do. The social media outreach we definitely can do.
Mhm.
Yeah, I need to set a time to meet with you, Evie, so that we can go over permissions and make sure that anything that I can do, I have access to, because I don't know. I haven't looked into it, I haven't had time.
Yeah, that would be great. I could find the Facebook page and I didn't understand what
I know,
I was supposed to be
it's-
looking at.
I need help
Yes, yeah.
desperately.
Bug me next week
I can do that.
and we'll set a time. Yeah, we'll set a time to hang out
Yes.
and,
Yeah,
go
I can
over
bring
that.
my laptop over and.
Yep. Yeah, and then we'll
If
look
Ken,
at what we want to restructure.
if Ken Johnson of Grande Karate, my ex, gets his refacing thing okayed and that type of stuff, then we may be getting a
We'll get that whole sidewall.
Oh,
between Wells Fargo and the karate school.
Oh,
that's
fun.
prominent.
For like a mural, you mean?
Yes.
Yeah, he
Oh,
wants a
fantastic.
mural.
He wants a mural.
Oh, lovely. That's exciting.
And one of the things that I suggested was that because there's not really a representation in LeGrand of the Chinese and Japanese influences, something along those lines on the side of it, the historical Japanese and Chinese influence in the area.
We figured
And-
with the karate school it would
And
really fit.
he loved the idea,
Yeah,
so.
that would be fitting.
So he's a facade grant application with the city right now?
Uh,
Is that what it is?
Not
it's-
exactly.
So what should I say?
He's in the historical district, so it has to go through the
Landmarks.
landmarks.
Oh, okay.
But
So-
what he's wanting to do is considered general maintenance, but Landmark still wants him to, because he has to submit what he's gonna do to seal, because he's taking off those old tiles and he wants to seal the bricks. He wants the original bricks to show and he wants them sealed with the special sealant. Well, Landmark still wants him to pay the $75 to have that approved. And, yeah, I'm
I mean, I
working
think-
with him.
And I think that's worthwhile, and if he hasn't already, I don't know, what funds he's looked into, but,
He
for
doesn't
that,
want any URA dollars.
he doesn't want facade grant?
Nope.
That's-
He doesn't want to
As
deal
he-
with
as
any
he-
government
As
anything.
he put it, they're not gonna tell me what to do with my stuff. And money always comes with attachments.
I mean, in
That's
this
a
case,
choice.
it's the exact same attachments as having to go through the landmarks committee. There are
Like I said,
additional rules
I'm
there.
working with him,
Yeah.
okay?
I would just say, that, just
He-
remind
he is
him
a very big
free up to $7,500 is nothing to sneeze at.
I agree.
Yeah.
But he is a very, very big proponent of property rights.
Yeah.
I own it, it's my building, it doesn't matter where it sits, I should be able to do what I want with it. And so you kind of have to go, and he's a retired Navy, so you kind of have to go gently.
I will say also, if he has to go through landmarks and have it approved there, for one, that would likely just get him, kind of pushed through the facade grant process. It's very rare that there's an issue if landmarks has signed off on it. And worst case, they would say, hey, we want you to do this, this, and this to get the money. And he says, no.
I think we're a little off topic.
Yeah, we
are. Sorry.
But
No,
yeah.
that's okay. I just want to make sure that we
But
get
yeah,
everything.
if we get that all settled and done with, then we'll have that whole side of the building for a potential mural. Jeremy Clark said he'd be interested in doing a mural on the underpass.
Okay.
We talked about that eons ago, and the underpass is ODOT, not railroad.
Oh, real quick, I would like to note on the previous point, the mural on the side of the karate school, if we're looking at like honoring the kind of Chinese and Japanese other heritages in the area, whatever process happens, if we have a say in how the artist is determined, I think
Yeah, we
giving a
would.
priority to someone who's of that kind of descent would be great.
Yeah, we would do.
At least giving them the first option if
We would do like we did with the art installation, and we would send out, call to artists. And I think we would make this one statewide instead of just 4 counties.
Mm.
So that we could get a more diverse group. Ken Johnson wants to be in on the selection process of the design, of course. And it would follow the same steps that we followed for the art installation.
Okay.
And also, just to add, it would follow the art policy, the public art policy
Mhm.
guidance, which talks about all those things and lays it all out.
Yep.
So
Okay, good.
the art commission, I mean, you can go through all the steps, get designs and everything, and city council can say no, essentially. So, yeah, all those things are important.
But we don't have to go to city council because it's a privately owned building.
Oh, okay. Okay. Cool.
He-
It just
he's
comes to
just-
us.
Yeah, he's just willing to go through the the art commission steps because he doesn't have a problem with that.
Well, the steps include city council.
Oh.
Yeah.
So if it's on city property,
Well,
but if it's a privately owned building, we don't have to do that step.
right, but that means,
Yeah.
you all can't be involved either, because
Right.
you are the city.
Right.
Right, so you cannot help him with.
You can't do,
whatever
yeah,
Call
if,
for artists or as an art commission member. You can do
Really?
it as a friend, you cannot do it
yeah, if
for those
he, if,
same reasons.
Oh, but we could do it as Main Street design, so maybe.
Yeah, I don't know if
We'll see.
it's-
I don't know. Hey, I gotta get him through this first process first, okay? So, but back to the goals and discussions.
Was there anything else on the list that people were interested in maybe checking out? I did talk with Jamie Jacobson a little bit. She sent me a really long email about public pianos. I haven't had a chance to sit down and read through it all, so I will get to that.
That would be nice to see that go on.
I know that pianos are still around town, so I think it's like we want to pay for tuning, et cetera, type situation.
I do think that there are a number of things on this list that are worth approaching, but maybe not at this meeting.
Mm-hmm.
You know, make some progress on our current projects and then revisit that list because
yeah,
I think there's good stuff on there, but
I
I
agree.
also don't want us spread too thin.
I agree with that.
And also, it also goes to money too, what we can and can't do and write for and not write
Right.
for.
So here's
Yeah, figure out the approach to each of those.
Here's what I'm thinking is gonna be a really good start for even addressing any of them, is that somehow we start having outreach or a connection with artists
Community
in the
partner.
area. Sort of coordinate some sort of, I don't know what the commission can do, but coordinate some sort of meeting for artists
We could definitely do that.
to get together and just talk and brainstorm and drop their business cards or whatever, right? So that we can keep promoting more art in the area. Is that something that,
Yeah, I think we could probably pull something off. And this could happen with some or no regularity, but starting in the summer, having an event would probably give us enough time to reach out to each of the art organizations who could then reach out to their artist networks as well as just public facing call on our normal distribution.
I don't think we have a lot of art organizations in town though, do we? Just 2?
I mean,
College and ACE?
HQ I would consider as well.
Okay, I guess they do have a
Just
gallery on the wall.
They
And
do,
then
well,
some
and
performance arts.
yeah,
Yeah.
considering performance arts as well.
Liberty Theater, we could be included in that.
Right.
So,
and Grand Run Retirement does have art outreaches that they do, so reaching out to them
Okay.
would be a good idea.
do we go to farmer's market? And set up a
We
booth?
need to,
No, we don't. Okay.
we need to. I think that would be excellent.
Okay, so how about I put together some events for all artists for the next meeting, and
Perfect.
then I'll bring that to the table.
Also, while we're on this, Monica gave me that to give to you. She contacted them about getting with us about art installations and such. Well, they came to Main
Might
they-
drop
they-
you a picture.
Well, they came to Main Street, and Main Street was like, well, this falls more under Arts Commission, so she left her business card.
Yeah, I've been in touch with them about the public art at the library, and
Yep.
how that would apply because whatever. Anyway, yeah, that's fine.
I'm passing
I
it
have,
on.
I have this information, but thank you.
Okay.
So,
Peace partnership.
How is that?
Yes.
Are we moving on to?
yeah, is that okay? Anything else? No? Okay, so ACE partnership update. So I will be at ACE board meetings for a while.
Okay.
They added me to the board and I accepted. So basically they really need a connection with us so that they can get grants. And so just having us connected to them will help them get money in the door. And that's basically where we're starting. And then anything we can do to promote again, once again, if we get those events going, I think that would help. Yeah,
Love it.
that's pretty much it. That's that update.
Cool.
Main Street Flower Basket sponsorship. I brought the form if we think we want to do that.
That was tabled from last time.
Mhm.
Back at you like you wanted.
So, do we want to buy a basket? Money's going to Imler FFA. Instead of starting with-
I'm sorry, I had that wrong. It's Union. And we're splitting it between Union and LeGrand's FFA.
Oh, between the two. A little more. Oh, I have it in there.
Just direct your brain, right? Last time we talked about, is it, with our limited budget, is that something with the recognition that's worth it? Does it pencil out? Do you want to just do, I think you all agreed that we'd only do one if we did it, and, how does the signage work? What's the benefit, whatever, all those
Yeah.
things. That's what you guys.
Well, and it was like between the baskets and the film festival. I think we get more mileage out of the film festival.
Mhm. Well, one basket was $100,
Mhm.
so, right. I don't know that we should be comparing the two, because one is definitely a little more active and one is more passive.
Mhm.
I'm not terribly concerned with holding off on the basket this year, and maybe next year there's room for it.
We're not terribly concerned with holding off, like you want to hold
Right.
off.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd like to hold off until next year. I think I've got an email in to Walmart. I think I'm gonna be able to start getting our money back. And if I do, then we can do little things like that and it won't really affect our budget.
And if nothing else, we're trying to kind of reconfigure our activities this year. And so better to see where our budget goes and then be able to make the educated decision next year.
I think that's a good statement.
Mhm. I think so too.
Do we?
Because we would hate to find that $100 was the difference in making something really spectacular happen.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't know that it would be.
And,
But you
and,
never know.
How, okay.
and they are well on their way on their sponsorships. They're not going to run short on fundage for
Okay.
that. So
Great.
we won't be putting them in a hardship.
So do we need to vote on that since we're not really,
No.
that's not really.
If you have consensus, does everybody kind of agree?
Corey, what do you
I
think?
totally agree. I don't-
Okay, so it's consensus.
Okay.
Now the film festival.
All right, on to the Eastern Oregon Film Festival, which is old business, and under the old business, it was just mentioned that there was a movie being made here, we wanted to donate, so I had spoken with Chris recently, and he said that he thought there was supposed to be a donation going to him last year, and there was just a miscommunication. He's not upset. He was just like, I don't know what happened, and I don't know when to come back or if I should go back. And I was like, oh, how about you just hold off on coming back, and I'll find out what's going on, and
Yeah.
we'll get back to you. But
It had been approved last year, but then things got lost in the translations. Things came up anyway. And so we had said we were going to.
Pretty sure we asked him for an invoice, we never sent one.
okay, that's
Pretty sure.
No,
Okay.
But,
he never got anything from us.
okay, well, anyway.
Yes, we did approve it.
yeah.
Yes, we did approve it, but it, just like I said, it just got lost in translation. So,
And that's fine. He's not upset. I think he was for a little while, and then he's over it, and he's happy to do whatever needs to happen. But they're gearing up for the film residency, filmmakers residency, where people are gonna be living here for a month out at Hot Lake and writing a film like Nelson did, which was Breakup Season, that came back to be filmed here. So right now they're looking for sponsorships, specifically for feeding a filmmaker. That's kind of what they're going for now.
has he requested any specific amounts?
No, he has not. I don't know how that works with the Arts Commission. So
Is that like grant part 2?
I know online it tells you what you can do, similar to this form, and it's $15 is one meal, $90 feeds the cohort for a meal. So one plate versus a meal.
So I think with this group, you would just make a decision an up to amount, and then, you would say, Stu, you need to contact him, or you do it and say, we approved it up to this. We assume you want all of that, but if you don't, whatever. And then he can say, great, and then we just need an invoice from him that says, here's the bill, and then we process it, and it comes on the budget.
What is our budget at right now, minus the,
Yeah, it's complicated because of the tens of thousands of dollars in it that are
the money that's already spoken for?
Right.
That's why they're there.
So let's see if I delete this line, $16,000 payment, $20,000 grant, $50,000 grant, somewhere around 11,000 ish.
What?
That's why I was saying $100 basket.
Let me look at last year's because
I was gonna say, I don't think we have that
That
much.
sounded about right compared to from the last meeting too.
Well, here it's got stuff, that rolls. So stuff we had last year. Let me find it.
Because there's the money for the 2 art prizes, there's the $800 that we usually give to concerts in the park.
Right.
So last year's had.
I think it was about 25 or 30, or 25 or
Yeah, the Wild Horses.
3,000.
The Miller Foundation money's in there. So 11 minus 7,500 is the real balance. So
Yeah, about 3,500.
where am I?
Yeah, that sounds more.
That's great.
Yeah, ish. $3,000 to $4,000 range. Yep. Yeah, the Miller Foundation's in there. That's why.
I need to get that money. I know it's only, I know it's only a
But-
little bit, but
Well, I'd like to give something. I mean, Chris has been, he always asks every year, doesn't expect anything from us. And the film festival has attained quite a reach.
Mhm.
And it would be nice to have our name, listed somewhere, getting us some recognition, getting us out there for advertising.
I'll play devil's advocate and say, why do you want to advertise? What are you advertising? What's the point?
That we're here, that we're available to help and assist, and, we can help you achieve great things. And
I like that Eastern Oregon Film Festival is a nonprofit and that we're
yes, that
helping a
too.
broader base, not just private individuals.
And the money's kept local. I like that it stays in the community. What do you think, Corey?
Decision.
I support the film festival. I think that's a better use of our funds.
Plus, it's actually art related. Yeah.
No, I agree.
Is there a dollar amount?
So it's still better, I think.
I think
For
last year we were
Still
gonna,
artists.
and I think last year we talked about doing 250, didn't we?
No,
I heard it was like 1,300 or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, it was
13 or 15.
Yeah.
I'd have to look back at my notes, but-
1,500.
Well, do we want to consider also if we want to kind of split an amount between this feed the artist portion and then other support options later in the year, closer to the festival?
You want to earmark it, you think, or you want to do like 2 separate payments?
Either way, but just thinking about if whatever amount we pick, is that all going towards this feed the artist portion, or is some of it, whether we hold on to it or we just give it and say use it for this, is it aimed at?
Yeah, because a lot of times he'll ask for, like
I forget what
a big chunk during the film festival, and it also gets you a couple of passes into the festival itself.
So for instance, if we were looking at like 1,300, maybe 300 goes to feeding the artists now, and then the 1,000 goes towards, whatever that support offering is closer to the festival.
And that gives us more time to get more money in.
And there's a rumor of an anonymous donor matching donations. So I don't know. That matters either when we talk about it. I think up to $1,000.
Yep, and just $3,000 to $4,000 your budget. So think about future things. You got about about $800 in concerts. It's going to disappear this summer. Then there's the money you guys spent on the baskets, which is about a couple $100,
Mhm.
$300.
Mhm.
Got to-
So there's $1,000, right? So you have, that would leave you with,
Just a
you know,
couple.
$500 to $1,000 as a balance. I'm just pointing it out.
Right.
It does, you guys do what you want. But,
What
if you have
about,
projects in the future, like the fair, you always spend some money.
Yeah, we
the
have
fair's
the
gonna
fair
be
booth.
about
What if-
$40-50.
What if we revisit it at time for film festival and right now just focus on the Feed a Filmmaker donation?
Yep.
Yeah, that was gonna be my suggestion, is up to $500.
I'm comfortable with that, but without seeing the budget line by line, it's hard for me to say yes. Does that sound logical, Stu, while you're looking at that?
Or
I mean,
300.
well, based on what you just told us. it
Well,
does
you
sound
said
logical.
something, no, it's like how much for a meal, or is it?
It's $15 for a single plate or $90 to feed the whole cohort one meal.
I mean, so if we did,
Why
let's say
not?
360, that's 4 full cohort meals.
That sounds good. I like that.
That's nice.
It's a significant amount of food.
Yeah.
Okay, anybody wanna put a motion to that?
I would move to put 360 towards the Feed the Filmmaker program.
I'll second that.
Vote? All in
Aye.
favor? Great, aye. Any opposed?
And that still leaves us a nice little bit in there, and if we wanna do more to the festival itself later on.
Especially, I don't know if those levels have come out yet. I feel like they're normally closer to the actual festival, so.
Yeah.
And so planning for the future, also you guys just need to have in your heads that if you're gonna, if Karen's kind of the only income through the Walmart grant program, right? So the rest of the funds are gonna be applied for, just like that public art project, they'll be specific. So that means if you want to support concerts, we'll have to apply for grants for that, right? And if you want to support other things throughout the year, like the gifts for the art show, great, but you might have to go, right, raise that money through grant projects.
Or
So
we
it
could
might
be a
change
line, we
your
could be a
focus.
line item in your budget.
That's on the agenda.
That's on the agenda next. Okay. That does raise a question of, if we're not fundraising, like, we're not supposed to do fundraising, how are we able to do grant writing?
Because it's based on projects and you're not grant writing, you're directing staff to grant write.
Okay, great, thank you. That answers that question quite succinctly.
But and with that being said, then we do need to figure out what we're going to do, what we need done for grant
Right,
writing. So it's kind of like, okay, we want to do this. So this is the money we need this for over the year.
Yeah, cause a
I'm
lot of,
hoping that the events, like meeting up with artists, will start to feed that.
Mhm.
and give us
Well, and a
ideas.
lot of grant writing, it requires that you, be able to have matching dollars too. You know, we've already managed this much, can you give us some more?
Right,
I'm just saying you might change your focus in the future because you don't have money anymore.
Right.
Because this group is used to just entertaining offer, like, oh, we need funding for this, symphony was one, film festival, all those are great, but that might be gone eventually, right? So then you have to kind of restructure your thought
Well, that's
process.
why I want to
That's great.
secure
Yeah,
it.
because
of
I'm only
course.
working for 3 years, and after that, we won't have any Walmart.
Well, if you could ever get
dollars.
Walmart to cough it up in the first place, but.
okay, anything else under old business that I may have missed? No?
No.
Okay, let's move on, new business, 2023-2024 budget request.
So it's budget time for the city. The timeline for budget requests are, the budgets were due like last Friday, so I turned in a budget request. And the art commission was not called out in that request. It was my normal budget request. But that's for you guys to request tonight. If you want, it's not too late. There's lots of wiggle room. So the budget request goes in, and then there's reviews by staff, and then there's kind of a second and third review before it's passed on to the budget committee, and then finally city council. So within that time between now and May, the budget gets adopted, right? Usually budget hearings are in, I think they're first part of April or maybe the last part of March, but in that range somewhere. So we have time to do I have said this 100 times, but whatever you request, the city manager is going to tell me to cut one of my other budgets that amount because it's all general fund dollars, right? So it's one pie. So when somebody takes a piece, it's gone, and it has to be replaced. It replaces somebody else's funding for whatever. which is totally fine. However, just keep that in mind when you're thinking about it, based on what, plus you have to give me some sort of sales pitch on how to sell that to the budget committee, because they're gonna ask, why does the art commission need money? Because no other commission in the city does, right? So,
That's not true.
which one?
Well, URAC, I guess it's not a commission, but URAC has money that they
Right.
talk about.
Yeah, that's,
But that's
actually,
still city
they don't
council.
have money, the.
That's true, the
urban
city council,
renewal
that's right,
agency
you're
has
right.
money, they just get to say how
That's
to
true.
spend it, right? Which is
Well,
similar to
and
the Parks
also
Commission
you need
telling
to
me how
consider
spend money.
that
Right,
Joseph has city dollars allocated to arts.
I'm just telling you all the facts.
yeah.
Walla
yeah.
Walla,
So do we,
Umatilla, Pendleton, Hermiston, Echo, all have city dollars allocated towards the arts.
All facts.
All right, the argument that I would make for our art commission needing the dollars is because we would like to be able to support the arts more and grow the arts in LeGrand, which grows tourist dollars. So that bringing in more money to LeGrand through that. And right now, even if we start out small, like say $5,000 for a year, that would help us so that we can do the Eastern Oregon Film Festival. We can continue to support the concerts in the park. We can do things like feed an artist for some of these things coming into the valley for not just filmmakers, but maybe other things like classes at the Iron,
At Bird Dog.
Bird Dog and other things. Getting out there and letting people know what's going on,
Supporting the
with
symphonies,
supporting the
theater.
symphony and the theater, getting out there at the fair and the farmers market so that we can let people know and hopefully bring in more funds from the community for the arts. And matching dollars so that bringing more art in for installations so that again would feed into the tourist dollars.
Well, and also, I mean, look what we were able to accomplish with virtually no money, and that's that art installation. Took us 5 years to do it, but we were able to do that with basically no dollars. So imagine
Not
what,
basically, $0.
Yes.
$0.
so
And
imagine what we could accomplish if we had a little financial assistance. You know, we're talking about doing these signal boxes. Well, you know, we can still write for grants, but we got to be able to offer up matching dollars to do so.
So let me say a couple of things I need help with. So the city doesn't normally entertain funding like that. So if the symphony comes to the city says, no, we don't fund nonprofits because we're the taxpayers, right? We don't fund all these individual things because it creates this challenge of fairness and equity and all the things, right, that city government has to deal with. So that is a big challenge. So by saying, so that argument unfortunately won't fly when it comes to supporting artists with this funding. Now, this could fly. A much easier sell for me is to say we have a signal box project that's going to cost X amount of dollars, and we need X amount of dollars for matching funds. Unfortunately, we don't know that right now. We don't have time to make that request. Next year, we hopefully will know that, and then that's a much easier sell because it's a tangible reason that you need the funding. So I love the sentiment. I get it. I'm trying to train / educate you guys on the reality of the situation in my seat to the budget committee when it comes to
so talking
requesting
about
funding.
Eastern Oregon Film Festival and concerts in the park and all that good sort of stuff, they would say no go on.
Concerts in the Park is a city program, so they're already funding that, or they would fund that. That would be in my recreation budget. They would just say, well, just pay for it out of that.
what if we did it so that we had a grant request program similar to the urban renewal advisory?
It's a lot of work. You could.
Right.
I mean, you
But
can't now because
No, I
you
know,
have to
but-
develop the policies and procedures. I don't know why that. I don't think that's appropriate for the Arts Commission because there's no funding tied to the Arts Commission. There is a funding mechanism for urban renewal,
Right.
so it doesn't I don't
Yeah,
think that
there's-
works.
And there's the
Okay.
cultural coalition, the Union County
Wait.
Cultural Coalition, which funds artists with mention.
Right, which is definitely, yeah, that'd be a better example. It's a great point.
But that's not specific to the city of Grande.
It's
No,
county.
it's the county.
Yeah.
I, like I said, I respect all this sentiment. I have to be able to sell it realistically. I have to.
Well,
justify
how
it.
do they justify it for like Echo and, wow,
It's a taxing rate, isn't it, Eddie? Didn't you say?
They get room tax dollars.
Right, and so our room tax dollars go to the park system and go to the chamber for the tourism activities. There's, all that money is spent.
And see,
between
all of
those
them, their
two
reasoning is
agencies.
just like what you were talking about. Brings people in, creates tourist dollars. People
Now-
stay in hotels, they go around and shop, they come in to view the things, you know.
Right, that's a different strategy. You could go to city council or direct me to, and through a work session process and a discussion with the people that receive the funds of TOT, an appropriate way for the art commission to advocate for some of that money to be dedicated to arts, right? So that's a whole different discussion outside the budget process, which I didn't think of until just this second. Obviously, that money is very limited and very sought after. Taylor knows this from discussions with the chamber in his past life.
But if they only
But-
give us 1%, that's not gonna be a big knock out of them.
I'm not saying don't ask. I'm just saying it's going to be a tough ask because somebody's giving up that 1%, right? Just like the other general fund requests. So
Just go get us money.
Well, but if we have to have a good argument and we just don't have one, then we don't have one.
that's where I'm at. If we have one, great. I wouldn't mind you guys advising me to break the ice with sort of the city manager's office and saying, okay, the art commission wants to have a conversation about TRT dollars. Can we schedule that or a work session, whatever it is?
Mhm.
So
I would
having
like
that
that.
conversation
Yeah.
makes sense.
Worst they can tell us is no, and we're there already, so nowhere to go but up.
If you guys want to do that, we
Just
can
go get us money, dude. You know how to do that.
Well, I just don't.
So here's my question, because I've joined another commission as well. I'm on the Parking and Traffic Safety Commission.
Yeah.
And so a mechanism that happens there is, okay, there's this thing that's been brought before us, and we as a commission can advise that, Public Works put in the money to put up some stop signs at some intersections or put up some one-way signs.
Right.
Is there a portion of the parks budget where we could advise, hey, the city should be using some of this amount to do this activity? And that's something that we don't necessarily need our own budget.
Yep.
We just need to know, like, what is the process with
That's what
that?
I was
Sure.
wondering too.
It's just already being done.
Right.
And it's like Arts for All, it's just being funded, right? We just pay for
Right.
that stuff.
right,
Yeah,
that
you
went
mentioned
back into there.
specifically, you have like a budget for recreation.
Right.
If there's a project that we identify that kind of fits under that umbrella,
Yep.
we could advise you, and as long as it doesn't conflict with any of your
Sure.
policies,
Yep.
you could say, yes, I will advance this.
And that's just providing me feedback when I'm creating the budget with all four of my departments to say, in recreation, for example, we're gonna prioritize these things because it's a priority of the Arts Commission, right? That's perfect. It's a great example.
And so like and the same thing with concerts in the park, prioritize that because it's a priority of the art commission, just like Arts for All came back to us and went under the umbrella of Parks and Rec. Okay,
So all those are fair game if you guys are, if let's say that, Ricky goes to goes to Ace and they say, we really want a partnership with the city to do this program and it needs $5,000, then, she comes back and during the process, you guys have a discussion and say, yes, that's our number one priority for the year. Then we have that discussion, you have that discussion with me, we set aside that money in the recreation budget to make that happen, whatever, right? That's how that would go. I guess you need some sort of consensus or vote about the TRT conversation.
Okay, so would somebody like to entertain a motion to have Stu bring up the PRT conversation with the city?
I would move to bring up that conversation, because I think it's a worthwhile tourist attractor. if executed properly.
And I second.
All in favor of that conversation?
Aye.
It's
Yes, I'll
unanimous.
report back to that.
Anything else for budget request then at this point in time?
Thanks for listening.
Thank
It's
you
a
for
lot.
sharing, it is a lot.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's
Complicated.
Consider sculpture donation. Stu, back to you.
So the last page of your packet is the email from Jesse. Jesse engaged with us in 2017 about when we started this public art project. Remember, he was on speakerphone in this room, if you were in this room at the time. He's an artist out of Wilsonville, I believe, and he wants to donate this.
Oh, that's cool.
That's fine.
That's gorgeous.
So if you read the email, it talks about he needs some funding for lodging and transportation and installation. There's a few random numbers on there, but it was kind of hard to follow exactly what it would cost. But that's I think I can cover some of that out of the parks budget. We can split it with Arts Commission and Parks money or something like that. I don't think it's going to be over $1,000.
Where would we put it?
And he wants a public spot in downtown.
Mm-hmm.
That definitely limits our options a little bit. When he says public, does he mean accessible to the public
I think
or
so.
owned by the city? Okay,
I
so
think
accessible
it's-
to the public is easier.
Assume so. I didn't ask him that question when I emailed him. We had a good back and forth for a bit. So this is kind of the final email after I told him, give me a proposal and I'll take it to you guys tonight. And my only
So-
concern is that it looks like it could be vandalized. I don't know.
Mhm.
Yeah, the downtown.
Mine.
What
Mine.
about
trying
the
to-
courtyard at the local? You know,
I thought about that and I am not against that idea, but I feel like I think it just needs to be inspected carefully because it opens up this idea of like, we just picked a business to give this
Yeah.
art to.
That's.
Yeah.
We would be out of it if it was private property like that. We
Right,
would just simply say, Jesse, call the local.
Okay.
They might want it. We wouldn't even engage as a
Mhm.
city.
I think I would like, I mean, if he has any answers, I'd love to know if he has worries about vandalism, like what exactly are the materials? What would his concern with that be? So that we know what that risk is.
How fragile is it? How pointy is it?
Mhm.
Public art, it's going to get climbed on. Sorry, it is going to get climbed on.
And he did say,
That looks, quite frankly, dangerous.
Yeah. he did say he'd like it downtown. I would love to know if he had any specific spots downtown that he thought would be a good place. I don't know how familiar he
But
is.
the big one is this, I agree with
The
Corey,
safety.
safety,
It's the safety.
because all it takes is one person to get hurt on that sucker on city property. And holy guacamole.
Yeah.
Somebody to break that glass and the shard of that glass
Mhm.
gets in their eye and then you've ruined the sculpture and you've also sued the city for however many millions of dollars for your eye. It's it looks very precarious to me, honestly. It's great, but I don't know that I would
Beautiful.
make it public art.
I was in the exact same boat, sorry. It's up to you guys for discussion.
I think that if there were, I kind of dislike this because the only place I could think that would potentially have the space is the library. If there was an interior space that was publicly accessible, that would maybe be a little bit easier to not have it climbed on. But it's very difficult to find an interior city-owned property
Mm-hmm.
that would be worthwhile. Outside of the library, I think that there could probably be a place, but
Yeah,
again,
that one,
that's
that
hammering a couple of different
space
things
in
on.
between them, the
In between the library and the.
hospital.
Oh, well, that's exterior. I was thinking like inside the
Oh.
building,
Mm,
because that is where I think you would better limit the danger is by having it in an interior space. But again, outside of the library, I can't really think of any other downtown locations that would lend themselves to that.
Yeah, see, and
And
I
that feels
actually
like
it's 9
putting
feet
too many
tall.
chips onto the
Yeah,
library
it's
right now.
really too, it's
Yeah.
an outdoor sculpture.
Yeah.
I think-
It's not an indoor sculpture.
I think
We don't have grand.
I'd be happy
glacial
to
things.
tell businesses about it
Yeah.
downtown, as suggested earlier.
Yeah.
And promote it, I guess, a little bit, because that's what we wanna do is promote the arts, right? So if they hear this coming in, somebody's looking for,
Yeah, it's not gonna cost them very much to get it here and put it up. So,
Right.
You know, the local could.
Well, the local, there's also the flower beds in different places, like Wells Fargo's beds right along Adams.
right
That's
in
public
there.
property there.
And
That's
that-
all right.
Oh, that's public? Oh, shoot, okay. I was just trying to think about the,
As much as I love what it looks like,
Um,
I think we might need to take a pass.
Yeah, I would say though to put, put,
Forward it out to some businesses that this is available.
If he's willing, he might not be willing to donate it to a private business. He
Right.
might just say, look, it needs to be on public display.
right, but if we could say that, hey, there are a few these are the reasons why we have to pass on it.
Sure.
Mainly safety, concerns. But here are some locations where you would get a lot of the same impact.
because it
As
would
if-
still be downtown,
because
it would.
right.
Well, and the only reason I thought of the local is because during the spring and summer, they've got that closed-in open courtyard. And
Right.
Yeah, it'd be great.
Yeah, once you get into some of those private spaces, I mean,
But they may not want it for the same pointy reasons.
Exactly.
Because kids running around,
Right.
jamming their eye into that thing. It
You
looks
guys
like it's
screen
about.
jamming around.
Looks like it's about
Sounds
eye
good.
height.
Yeah.
for a
Yeah.
I mean,
5-year-old.
double
I don't
check,
know if
but-
the
So-
university would even want to go there.
Are we in agreement
No,
that
you
we're
would
gonna go
not
ahead
fit
and
our-
pass on this for?
Oh,
Yes,
as much as I hate to,
Great.
but
Yeah, it's
Right
Well,
forward,
I'll ask him if
yeah.
he's willing to talk to businesses and we can ship it out through the chamber or whatever.
yeah.
Yeah, I think that is
Well,
the
there's a
best
good idea.
option.
Pass it on to the chamber.
Yeah.
That's not a bad idea.
Yes.
it is a beautiful piece.
Yeah, it'd be great. It's
But,
just-
yeah.
It's not really.
I'm with
safe for-
Corey. I
don't
see
even think
lawsuit
it's
all
sturdy-
over this
sturdy
sucker.
enough for
Which is
public
too
art.
bad because,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
it's
a-
gorgeous.
Plus, it's in that setting of like a forested area, so you just
Mhm.
picture it in a garden instead of
Yeah.
on a sidewalk.
Yeah,
Anyway,
yeah. It's
I mean, if
Um,
Riverside Park was a little better,
Staff reports?
nope, nothing tonight.
Okay. Hours that you volunteered in the last month?
I would say, is it just commissioners? Would Ren be included?
Just commissioners, yeah.
Okay, so I'd say only 2 hours. Well, closer to 3.
For all that honcho stuff.
from last meeting, spent 5 hours upset with my laptop trying to get that stuff. I'm like, Taylor told me this and I don't remember now. And a lot of bad words.
You have a standing 15 hours on this, is that normal?
Pretty much, because I still go through and post things to Arts Commission patrons and
What about you? Arts Center East stuff, conversations? Whatever.
I've probably put in about 10 hours in the last
Yeah.
month with research. I'm trying to figure out how to get involved with the new Oregon Arts and Culture Coalition that just got formed.
And mine, none, because mine doesn't count. Mine was on the clock at Walmart.
Well, thank you anyway.
And Corey, we can't even count his hours. They're umpteen
For the same
zillion.
reason, he's at work.
Yeah, technically.
I still think some of those hours should
Any-
count.
Yeah, some of it is outreach, but I don't.
Have you got any a show coming up soon or
No.
something?
No, nothing.
Any comments from commissioners before we adjourn?
I want money.
I'm not gonna put that on it.
Any other comments? No? All right, meeting adjourned. Thank you, guys. Oh, wait, do we need to talk about the next, well, it's standing,
It's
Second. yeah.
April 12th.
April 12th is the next meeting. Great. Meeting adjourned at 6:29.
We stopped the stream.
April